All right, well, we are live in Washington, D.C., Tehran, London, as well as Beijing. First to Tohid Asadi, standing by for us in the Iranian capital. Tohid, what has the Iranian government been saying to such a huge threat there from Trump?
Not from the government, but we've got a very strong message from the headquarters of Khatam al-Anbiya, known as the Joint Military Headquarters, and they are coming with this strong message that in case there is a security, it's going to be either for all or for none, and that is the message that we heard from them. Also, they're saying that there is going to be a decisive course of action in case the security of the ports of the country in the Persian Gulf and Sea of Oman is threatened. Meanwhile, we've got them from the statement. They're saying that vessels affiliated with the enemy, they have no right to go through the passage of the Strait of Hormuz, and that is in line with the message that we heard from IRGC, saying that in case any of the enemy's vessels, ships, or oil tankers approach the Strait of Hormuz, there are going to be tough repercussions for them. And obviously that is part and parcel of the grand strategy that we have been hearing from the Iranian side over the past few days and weeks. The supreme leader of the country, Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei, the new supreme leader, came out in a statement in which he said that there is going to be a new regime, a new management over the Strait of Hormuz, and take it to the context that Iran is trying to use that as a leverage point when it comes to Iran's situation in the region and when it comes to the security context in the region. We know that part of Iran's leverage across the region, including when it comes to Lebanon, Iraq, and Syria, have been already lost. So this is a new point, a new strategically significant choke point, to be specific, from which Iran tries to gain benefit. And on that also, we know that Iran is talking about plans to impose transit fees, transit charges for the ships planning to go through this Strait of Hormuz. And obviously that's going to be very much important when it comes to the role of this choke point on the global energy market.
Okay, stay with us, Tohid, because mediators are urging the US and Iran to uphold the ceasefire. And the negotiations in Pakistan at the weekend ended without a long-term agreement. Now, in a post on social media, Iran's foreign minister says the talks were the most extensive at the highest level, he says, in 47 years, and that Iran engaged with the US in good faith to end war. But Abbas Araghchi goes on to say when the parties were inches away from a memorandum of understanding, Iran encountered maximalism, shifting goalposts and blockade. And he ends with 0 lessons were learned. Goodwill begets goodwill and enmity begets enmity. Tohid, so, quite a strong statement there from the Iranians. The Iranians seem to have been quite consistent throughout this war. Do they now believe that with this threat of a blockade, that means the talks are over?
We can say it's fully over. There is still a chance for the diplomatic engagement. The Iranian side previously said that it is in contact with Islamabad, and that is obviously important, but that doesn't mean that we should ignore the realities on the ground. First of which, obviously, is the very fact that when it comes to the positions, the two sides are poles apart. And we heard the word maximalist from Abbas Araghchi, the same word that we heard ahead of the talks when it comes to Iran's position to the American proposal. Here we are dealing with a 10-point proposal from the Iranian side on the one hand, and the 15-point proposal, and if you want to from the American side, of course, and if you want to juxtapose these two, we can see that the two sides are poles apart. There are several sticking points. The spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs says 2 or 3 major ones, which includes most probably issues related to the nuclear dossier of the country, most important of which I can say the highly enriched uranium stockpile, also when it comes to the situation of the Strait of Hormuz, and also when it comes to the ceasefire across the region, in particular the ceasefire in Lebanese front, which is a key demand from the Iranian side. But beside these key controversial issues, we know that there are other issues such as the security assurances that Iran is looking for, the ballistic missile of the country, as well as the sanction reliefs, relief, and the frozen assets of the country, and the list goes on and on. We know that these talks are very unprecedented in that they included a much wider domain of issues, controversial issues. But besides these controversial issues, we know that two other important factors are out there. First, lack of trust, and then secondly, a parallel rhetoric of preparedness for any confrontation down the road. And that is something that creates a huge amount of complexity in this already intricate situation.
Okay, thank you very much. That's the update there from Tohid Asadi in Iran.